Welcome to Pretty Entrepreneurs. This is the series that pulls back that curtain on small business ownership, but from a woman's perspective. And this isn't about polished success stories or overnight wins. It's truly about the grit, the late nights, and that messy middle where dreams are often fought for and won. I'm Alicia Polk, founder and CEO of Hustle on Sunday. And in Hustle on Sunday, I believe that true success is crafted through prayer and faithful obedience to the unique gifts that God has given us all. It's a journey through struggles, through doubts and triumphs, but pretty entrepreneurs, we are not just building businesses over here. We're building a lifelong sisterhood which is grounded in love, peace, support, and a shared purpose. If you have a story worth sharing and you want to promote your business, I'm currently accepting additional pretty entrepreneurs to join the tribe. So head to the website that you see on your screen or just contact me directly at info@hustleonsunday.com. And let's build something pretty together. So I have Jen Zimmerman here from Rise. Hi, Jen. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good. And I'm so excited to have you on Pretty Entrepreneur because the mission that Rise captures is like beyond words. I don't even know how to put it into words, but you're going to put it into words.
Yeah.
Tell us all about your story. Tell us, well, let's start with Rise. What is Rise?
So Rise. I advocate for people who've experienced domestic and sexual violence, both of which I have. I
Wow.
thought Rise was going to be one thing. I thought Rise was going to be me sharing my story, and I thought that it would be me providing beds in a bag for local shelters
Mm,
because there was a time that I needed those resources. And the thing that stopped me from going was sleeping in somebody else's bed. When I thought of a shelter, uh, I thought of a big open gymnasium and cots with strangers. And I didn't want, not just for me, but for my children,
hmm
to be in that environment. I didn't know what to expect. And domestic violence and those topics weren't things that were discussed like it is now 30 years ago. So that's
Wow.
that's my mission now, is to be a resource.
Rise has evolved into something way bigger than a bed in a bag.
Right.
I mean, I like a good bed in a bag,
Yeah,
seriously.
right.
But where did it transition from a bed in a bag concept to you literally, I heard you like have slept in cars with a battered women. You have like helped battered women escape their
Mhm.
circumstances with a better, with a spouse or some significant other who was like,
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, I thought it was going to be me sharing my story, and I thought it would end there. And
mm,
and I even fought that for the longest time. I didn't want to do that. It's not anything that we talked about. And I was shut up for a very long time. Um, so the second I opened my mouth, the second you open your mouth, it invites people in to share their experience when you've created a safe space.
hmm
um, it just naturally happens, and that's the most beautiful thing that happens with Rise, that I get to experience women, people, men telling their story for the very first time, very young and very old. And I get to witness them tasting that first taste of freedom. I get to witness.
your business helps men and women.
It
So
does.
men suffer just as much as women do from abuse and sexual assault, right?
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I know, I've heard that saying, and people use it a lot. We don't look like what we've been through.
mm-mm. You definitely do not. I mean, you've even had cancer, you know.
Oh, cancer saved my life.
Oh
It,
my.
it it truly saved my life. It truly saved my life because it showed me
Mm-hmm.
what I was capable of.
Mm,
And at that point, I thought, oh, no holds barred. I was just angry enough. I was just mad enough to stay alive. There wasn't a chance I was going to leave this earth and not finish raising my children.
mm.
Oh, so it created something in me. It revealed something in me that I thought quite the opposite of myself. I had been convinced because of my own experiences as a young girl, as a freshman in college. This is why Rise exists.
Wow.
I would be, and I will, I think words matter so much. I was raped on a college campus,
Mm.
and it wasn't just one person. I can count on two hands the number of silhouettes I saw in the room that night,
Wow.
and what what that did to me as a young woman, as a young girl, just out of the house for the very first time. Um, I was in fear. I was in shock. I didn't know what to do. And it was a very frightening experience, because it didn't just end with that night. I was consistently threatened. I was followed around campus. I was
Mm.
telling me my whereabouts, calling me and threatening me.
Mm.
When I left that campus that night, I didn't leave alone. I was carrying a child, and oh, that child now, oh, there's a 35-year-old love of my life, my son.
Oh my.
All the things leading up, all the things leading up. Yeah,
You've experienced so much more than just that.
yeah.
How do you feel like that experience started to shape the rest of your journey up to this point?
Yeah, yeah. So I think they told me who I was in that room that night, and I
Mm.
believed them.
Mm.
And I would then get into two relationships. One that would end up being a marriage, that I walked away from 5 years ago. Very physically abusive. I can take a hit, a kick, and a punch any day of the week. And I did for many, many years, for many days of those years. I have been beaten in public on my hands
Wow.
and knees with glass bottles thrown at my head. And this is a hard topic. And this is why I do have a choice. But I don't have a choice. I have to do this. There are so many more women, so many more men, so many more people out there who have experienced what I've experienced, and they're still living in that prison. They're serving sentences for crimes they didn't commit. I've had the life kicked out of me, literally. I was pregnant with a child, and that life was kicked out of me.
Mm. Let's pause. So I can already, Jen, start to see Rise evolving just from your campus experience. Okay. But then you leave the campus, you get older, you get married, and then you get into the abusive side. So the sexual assault side already occurred.
Mhm.
Now we're moving into the domestic
Yeah,
piece, right?
yeah.
And how long did you stay in that relationship? And where did Rise start to percolate in that
Hmm.
moment after that circumstance?
Yeah, so I think it started with cancer. I think
Okay.
again, I didn't realize what I was capable of. I was in a marriage, and the relationships that I was in, the two that were
Hmm.
abusive, one more physically so, um, the one more emotionally. I remember. Hmm, so there are so many things that have happened over the years that have led to this moment, that have equipped me. I think so many things have led up to where I am now. The failures in business. My children were young. My son was a senior in high school, getting ready to go to college, and I had just lost a job, and not knowing it came very unexpected, because I stood up for myself.
Oh.
That was a very hard thing for me to do. But really, truly, I wasn't sticking up for myself. I was sticking up for my child. I'm really good at sticking up. I was really good at defending everybody else except for me.
Hmm.
Oh, but but one day I had my desk packed up and I had it sent home to my front porch, unbeknownst to me,
Oh, wow.
until until the end of the day. That launched me in that what God won't do, what He won't use, and how He won't launch you in circumstances that seem so dark. I I was driving down a country road one day and there was a little gas station general store and with a for rent sign in it. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I think I could do something with that. That little general store gas station I did take. And I and
What were
I
you going to do with it? Did you have a business plan, or did you just say, I'm going to rent that space? Who knows? Like
I was going to
I
rent
have
that
no,
space. Yeah, this was 15 years ago.
wow.
I rented that space and I opened an antique business. An antique business. I had no idea. I truly had no idea. I knew that I loved antiques. I knew that I
Hmm.
loved decorating, but that step has taught me what to do and what not to do. I took that business, that business with no water and no heat, just four walls, really. And that business grew and grew and grew. I moved four times. It was growing that fast, into
Wow.
larger spaces. And I was just getting ready to open a second location in Pittsburgh's Strip District, and that's when I was diagnosed with cancer. And so I sold my business. I created a business that I was able to sell. I had no
Wow.
idea, just taking a chance on myself for the very first time. Oh, it was so, it revealed, that again revealed to me. That was the beginning of the revelation of who I was and what I was capable of. And then cancer came along and that gloves off. It was.
So it's interesting because to me, God has always had his hand on you. I mean, would you do anything different on your pathway?
Mm, maybe not for myself, but for my children,
Okay.
and for the people closest to me. I think because of the things that I experienced, the things that I stayed in because I thought I had no choice. I was convinced that I wasn't smart. I convinced that I wasn't capable. I just finished my treatments. I was given 1 year to live. I was given 1 year to live 9 years ago.
Whoa, God
If you
is
don't
so
believe in
glorious.
God, let me tell
You
you
are
my
a
story.
walking, talking miracle, but that's not where your story ended. You lost a child.
I did lose a child, yeah.
Tell us about Willie.
Yeah, it would just be over a year ago. That my phone would ring in the middle of the night, and it's that those words that you don't think you're ever going to hear. I didn't think I would hear, you have cancer. I didn't think that I would hear your son is gone. Oh, the
Yes.
way God has kept me in this time. And part of Rise is part of what I get to do with Rise is, and what a beautiful gift it is. I get to renovate spaces for shelters, and I get to help people move into their own homes. And because I'm a interior designer by trade, and
Oh,
among other
wow.
things, I I thought, when I was getting ready to share my story, I'm going to have to give up my career, because who is going to want me in their home? How could
Oh, my.
anything, when they hear my story, God, I'm I'm going to have to I'm prepared to give up my job, because who's going to want me in their space? How could anything beautiful come from me? I was still believing. I still had that core
Mm.
belief. The enemy wanted me to believe that, and
Oh, yeah.
and I believed it. And just but it was okay. I was prepared for that. Whatever I had to do, it was time. And I have been approached by a national organization
Hmm.
to work with them, to contract with them. And part of that will be renovating homes and preparing homes for people to move into from shelters, men and
Yay. I
women.
love it. I love
Yeah.
that.
And William was supposed to be part of that. William is a contractor, carpenter by trade, and
Wow.
when we were proposed with this opportunity, I said, "Buddy, I'm going to need somebody. I'm going to need somebody to head that part of it, because it's a statewide thing." And I said, "Would you take that part over, rehabbing the homes and all of what that entails?" And he said, "Yeah,
Hmm.
Mom. Yeah, I'll do it, Mom." He said, Do you think I could get a company truck?" And I said, "Yeah,
You
honey."
gotta love boys because that is like the first thing. But he was already prepping and planning because He
Yes.
even knew, and may he rest in peace. And I'm so
Yeah.
sorry for your loss. Let me
Mm,
start there. But
yeah.
even Willie knew what his mom had, even before his mom knew what she had. He knew. But do you believe it now? Because your work, Jen, is phenomenal.
Mm,
Do you believe it now?
I
You
do.
do?
I
What did
do.
it take to
I
get there?
do.
Because there's so many, there's entrepreneurs, women or men. This is just pretty entrepreneurs. Say, guys, I'm sorry, we're coming back for you at some point. But for now, it's all ladies.
Yeah.
What tips or tricks can we borrow from you to get beyond that negative voice when you think you're onto something and God has given you a vision, and then you
Mm,
start moving down the path of that vision, and then
mm.
you hear that you ain't going to get there. It ain't going to work. Look at you. You look stupid. You have no followers. Nobody wants to hear from you. How do you get past that? That's like hard. And I think women need to know.
Oh gosh. I think I think my advice would be to keep pressing. You're going to mess up. You're going to
Yeah.
mess up. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's preparing you. Those failures were always fail forwards for me.
Fail forward.
I didn't always see it. I didn't always believe in myself. It matters who you have around you. That's the most
Mm,
important thing. That's the most important thing. And where you're getting your identity, your will to keep going and counting on yourself. Bet
hmm.
on yourself. Take a bet on yourself, and just keep at it.
Yeah.
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 It's the most beautiful thing that you will ever experience, is to watch yourself, the impact that your story, that your vision, that your hope for
Hmm.
whatever business, whatever, it matters who you surround yourself with, and don't be afraid to fail. Don't.
Yeah.
Oh no.
No, I
Mm-mm.
think failure, you said something earlier about the fail forward, but I think without failures, you don't know what you're made of. You don't
Mm,
know that you can get back up. I think sometimes it's God showing you who you really are,
yeah.
and he has to stretch you,
Yep.
to a point where you believe in you, and and that's just part of his perfect plan. It's not to hurt you,
No.
right? Jeremiah 29:11. It's not
Amen.
to hurt you, but
Yep.
it is because he has a plan for you, and he wants you to see you the way he sees you.
Yep.
But in order to get us to that point, because we have this human fleshly view of ourselves, he's got to
Yep.
take us through some things. And I'm not leaving this interview, Jen, without you telling people the best way to work with Rise, because I think what you do is so important. And there's somebody out there who's going to watch this who needs you, and they need what you're doing because either them themselves or someone they know. Is there a way to reach out to Rise if someone's having a challenge with either sexual assault or domestic violence?
Yeah, there are a number ways to reach out to me. I am relaunching a website right now. Honestly, people have full access to me. People reach me by word of mouth,
Okay.
by phone number, but social media.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, and as soon as the website is ready, we'll have that information available for people to reach out to. There are agencies all around Pittsburgh that are
Okay.
offering help. Rise works with a number of those, and we stand in the gap.
Okay.
It's overwhelmed, and we're here to stand in the gap to help with those resources. So yeah.
So I heard you say you have a national partner now. You don't need to disclose. We won't
Yeah.
go there, but you have a national partner now. But you're still at the beginning.
Yeah, it gives me chills to think I can look back. I look back over my life, and every moment
Mm,
has led to this. Never in my wildest dreams, and never did I ever. I took a chance on myself
mm,
one time when I saw that for rent sign in a window. And everything else is a culmination of this, of what I am getting ready to step into, to watch lives change. I get to watch it happen. I get to see it the very first time. I get to see a glimmer of hope.
how long has Rise been up and running?
I whispered my story for the very first time 3 years ago.
3 years, and you already have a national partner. You've just encouraged like all women, including me, um, because you have those days where you're like, is this thing really going to even work? Like, does anybody even care? Am I wasting my time? Maybe I should just go get a job.
I hear you. I hear you. No, I
Did
know
you have
that.
any of those moments where you're like, maybe I just need to go get a job?
Do I not? Do I
Yeah,
not?
yeah,
Especially this last year. I thought I can't. I don't have. I felt empty. My
yeah,
son was gone from this earth. What am I supposed to do with myself? This is what it's going to be for me now. And that was short-lived. I'm not the only one who's experienced rape, domestic violence, cancer. I can't not do it because I know what it feels like to feel alone. I know what that's
mm,
like to feel very alone. And I don't have it in me to not walk beside somebody and say it's going to be okay.
And you said something earlier in the interview relating to it depends on who you have around you.
Mm,
Can we talk about that?
yeah, it's so important. It's so important because I have failed at that too. When my first experience owning a business,
Mhm.
I was just excited, and I think, for a very long time, I felt like everybody had my same motive, my same heart, my same
Mm.
everything, and not
Mhm.
always.
Yep.
I do have to learn the hard way sometimes.
Yep. Oh, we all do.
Yeah,
We all do. We got
yeah.
to get our feelings hurt. And it's hard, especially
Whew.
when it's coming from people who you think are supposed to support you and you think might be in your circle.
Yeah,
Um, you do feel abandoned. You do feel
mm,
lonely. This entrepreneurship is the loneliest walk I've ever been on, to be completely
absolutely.
honest. And in having no one to believe in me and having to just believe in myself.
I thought that selling my business and not, I was going to try and hang on. I was going to try and keep two locations open while I was fighting cancer. Oh, but when I realized that that was the best thing to do, I thought I had failed at that. That I can't because I didn't have the right people around me.
Mm,
I learned the hard way about that. Not picking the right people, not waiting on him to show me who the right people were. I took it on myself, and I thought that I failed at that. And oh, but what a protection that was!
yeah.
What a protection that was to not have to. I'm fighting, literally fighting for my life. Oh, how he protected me in
Hmm.
that.
It's
Yeah,
like, wait a minute, God, this is I have cancer and you're telling me I have to sell something that I really love,
yeah.
not seeing rise on the horizon. He had to clear your plate for you to focus.
Phew.
Isn't that interesting? I mean, it's just
Well,
I hate that you went through that, but then at the same time, I'm like, if you wouldn't have went through it, you would have never did it.
no, no, for sure. No, it would have stopped me in my tracks. Mhm.
So thank you so much, Jen, for everything that you've discussed with us today, your story, your mission, how you went from, being a sexual assault and domestic violence victim yourself to now helping people who are also going through those types of traumas. And we need you, right? Not only women, but men. The world needs you. So I'm cheering for you as you move into this national platform. And who knows, you may have some entrepreneurial people who are also doing similar missions and maybe there's collaborations, et cetera, that may be born, from that. So I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. Please,
Absolutely.
please, we'll be praying for you and I'm excited for you. I'm going to be cheering loud in the
Yep.
audience for you as I watch this thing flourish. So thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having Rise. Yep.
Thanks. Have a good night. So, as we close today's conversation, remember entrepreneurship isn't always pretty, but it is always worth it. That courage to keep going, The sisterhood we're building, oh, and the businesses we've created are living proof that when women collide with their God-given purposes and we come together, we're completely unstoppable. So thank you for joining me on Pretty Entrepreneurs. For more unfiltered stories, resources, or if you yourself are ready to share your own journey, visit the link on your screen to learn more about becoming part of the Pretty Entrepreneurship series. Behind every successful business lies a story of hustle, heart, and sisterhood. We'll see you next time.